Hello everyone, here on Ancestry Answers we're going to go on a journey of how to use what we have, what is known, and how to further our research. Let's take a look. First thing we're going to do is look at the sources and the family. So we have Paul, who is married about 1914 to Mrs. Collins, to one child according to this. We have Paul being married 1920 to Regina, no children listed, and Paul being married 1923 to Ruby, and stepmother to Lyle. So the first thing we're going to do is look at the 1900 census. We're going to take a look at the image. Okay, so here we have Branson, and Gertrude, Gracie, Jewel, and Paul, which is what we have here. It shows that Gertrude had 3 children, 3 living, so that's perfect. And it shows that Margaret Hafer, mother-in-law, had 1 child. So let's take a look and see. We right-click, open link in new tab, click on family. See, here's a Margaret here. It shows that there are 3 children here, so not 100% sure why it only shows 1 and 1. But we have June 1835, and right here we show January 1834. I often find that this information is, that actually says January 1835. So we have just 1 year difference. Now maybe, because I find that this information is typically pretty accurate, but there are times where the years are off. So we'll continue to look into that. But it shows that she was widowed, so we know that he died beforehand. So shows here, died in 1873, so that matches up perfectly. Alright, so let's go ahead and close the 1900 census. We'll keep Gertrude open just to show that generation if we need to. Close 1900, let's go to the 1910. Now in this, we show that we have the so the father, Gertrude, Paul, and then let's see, Branson, Gertrude, Paul, and the son. So let's take a look at the image. Man, that's little and faint. Okay, if you do want to adjust things, you can come here to Tools, and you can adjust image. So you can do the contrast a little bit more. That sometimes helps and sometimes makes it worse. Maybe darken it up. Lightening up makes it worse. Anyway, you can adjust that. It's a great, click apply. So that helps slightly, I think. But anyway, here we go, the Collins. So we have Paul was 13, and then BS was 4. And we have Paul as the youngest here. So we need to add that child. I am going to close the tab. I'm going to come in through here, the URL. Again, we're going to scroll down here, click on BS Collins, and we're going to attach him to the system. So you can see this is great. We just found another child. What happens with this is if I click compare, it's going to connect it to Paul. We obviously don't want that. Click over here, you can click change, and you can go to put in the ID number of that child. The problem is he's not in the system. So we're going to add him here. We're going to add sibling. Put B.S. Collins, male, deceased, because 1906, right? 1906, what was the birthplace again? Missouri. Okay, type in Missouri. Okay, and then we're going to click next. Missouri, United States. Next. And add new. If we end up finding a duplicate, we'll get it cleaned up at that point. Great. Okay, So we're going to close that, reopen it. Click on B.S. Collins, attach to family tree. So what we're going to do is get the code number, copy this, that was from your first tab, go back to your second tab, click change, paste that code in. Now it's going to bring them up side by side, click compare, add that in 1910 they were in that part of Missouri, and click attach. Now I can return to the record. If you come back to this first tab and click Control R for PC, Command R for the Mac, then you will be able to refresh the page and all the sources that you just attached will show up. Alright, let's hop back down to the sources. Let's go, it looks like we don't have the 1920 census, so that one's going to be pretty important because we have the 1920 and 1923 that they were married, so we'd want to find out some more information there. But let's see what the 1930 census has for us. Open that, and shows he's married to Ruby, and they have a son named Lyle. Click close on that. So here we have Ruby. That matches up with this record. We just don't know what happened with Regina at this point. Okay, so that's all attached already, so we'll close that. Now we're going to look at the registration cards. So this is World War I draft registration. I will look at the image pretty much always if they're available, because there's always additional information, or maybe transcription was not the best. Okay, so we have Paul Hafer Collins, May 19th, 1896. He was born in Clarence, Missouri. So if you come back here, do we have that? We do not. So we're going to add where he was born. So Clarence, Shelby, Missouri, and we're going to copy where that link came from. Yeah, it's probably easier to get it from down here. So below your source, where the citation is, you can copy this information. Scroll back up. Just ignore all the happy scrolling, okay? And then we'll click save. So that's great. We just clarified that. We just added additional child. We're doing great. Okay, so on here, let's see if it says wife and child. So that matches up with first wife, Mrs. Collins, who died in 1919. So World War I is during the 1917-1918. Shows the wife and one child. Okay, one thing that's great about this is you can see that they are medium height, slender, blue eyes, dark hair, and they still have their hair, so that's always a good thing. And they still have all their limbs, and you can sometimes they'll have their signature, so it's kind of fun to look at. So let's close that. Here we got a marriage. This marriage is Paul was widowed at the time, and this was the marriage of the first spouse, the 24th of November not the first spouse, I guess it would be the second spouse, 24th of November 1920 in Lewiston, Fergus County, Montana. I'm going to copy this just in case we don't have it, so I don't have to scroll back down and make you dizzy. So here we go. So we're going to update this to standard form, however. Okay, so we click on here, click edit, put a space bar, then it brings us up, space bar, and we get this, and then we're going to say updated to standard form. Sorry, I have a sore on my hand and it's hard to type. Okay, so we'll close that. That's updated standard form. That will help the database. Okay, now we'll go back down. Shows the father's name is B.S. Collins, Gertrude Hafer. And then we have the spouse's name is Regina Frances Hughes, which is what is above. She was widowed also, so we need to look at her and make sure all is well there. Spouse's birthplace is Parham, Minnesota. And here's the name of the parents. What a wonderful record this is. Okay, so I am going to go up and make sure that we have the Parham, Minnesota. Here we go with Regina. So this is Edna Ottertail. So I'm going to open that in new tab, and as we explore, we may change that. But it could be that this is a much smaller town that was right next to it, and so sometimes the records would put the other, though this may be actually the correct information. So let's take a look at family and see. We have Francis, Pershawn, Rose, Peluska, Rose Kalisk. Now we got some good spelling here. Different. So we'll need to keep that in mind as we do our research as well. Okay, so I'm going to come down here to Billion Graves. And this is one that's similar to findagrave.com. So we can visit the partner site. We can see here the cemetery is right here. We'll copy this. Okay, burial has in San Diego, but I will put the cemetery record in it as well. Okay, so here we go. Then we're going to scroll down and get that source. I need to close this. This is making me crazy. Wait, not this one. Close that. Okay, here is where we meant to go. Okay, copy. Alright, so things are looking pretty good in regards to Paul, but who is this Mrs. Collins? And were there any additional children? So let's look at possible duplicates. Okay, none are found at this point. Let's go up and do this. Paul Hayer Collins. So we're going to, I don't like when it does this. Review and attach. 19th, and this is 4th of October. So I'm going to manually go to find a grave because I want to make sure. So click on 165. So we're going to look up Paul Collins. What was the cemetery? This is California. Okay. So United States, California, click search, and okay, here we go. Paul H. Collins, October 14th, says it clearly there. So I'm going to come in here and edit this. Type in 14, and we're going to copy the Find a Grave Memorial number and paste this in here. Okay. Okay, on here, you can see a sibling, Bob Seth Collins. There's that other child. Yeehaw! Okay, so we're going to open this one in a new tab. Oh my gosh, this is so great. Who doesn't want to do this all day? Okay, so we're going to attach this. That was the Find a Grave file. Okay, so now these are both Paul Hapers. I'm going to close this first one, and we'll just continue to work with this. Okay, so I'm going to come in here. We're going to open up B.S. Collins. We're going to grab Bob Seth. Copy that. Edit. Paste. Come in here, copy the Find a Grave Memorial number. Go back to the tab. Paste. Save. Close. Go back to the Find a Grave. Get the 1905 in Missouri. So this says 1905, and the other one was a census record, so that can vary. And then we'll copy the Find a Grave Memorial number, so we know that that's where this came from as well. Click Save. Click Close. Come to Deceased. I already have the memorial number in, so we're going to just paste that so I don't have to keep going back and forth. Go back, copy 1989, in the United States. Ugh. Okay, click save. You can see here they're married to Vera C. and a daughter Joanne. We can go in and we can add the burial information. You see how much we just did in like 10-15 minutes, right? It's amazing. So I challenge you to do this. Go through. As you run into problems, we'll continue to battle this together. Let me know if you have any comments and share, and we'll talk to you later.